Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. This is Paul Tinkle, and my guest is the Chancellor of the University of Tennessee at Martin. A wonderful man, a great smile, and on the top of everything else, he loves just getting to meet people just like you folks are today. Yancy Freeman. Dr. Freeman, thank you for coming in to join us. What have you been doing here? Happy anniversary, 1 year in already.
1 year in. I actually made it for 1 full year, and I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Thank you for the invitation. I've been looking forward to having a chance to come sit and talk with you and your listeners, so thank you for inviting me this morning.
So what have you been doing the first year?
Oh, goodness. I have been doing as much listening as I can over the last year. I've talked to alums, I've talked to legislators, I've talked to students, I've talked to faculty and staff, I've talked to as many people who will talk with me about the institution so that I can learn as much as I can. And now it is part of the strategy and the doing and trying to now take the institution to the next level. And I told folks that we're doing legacy building now as we think about what's next for UTM.
Well, let me back up here for just a second.
Yes.
Is it just like you thought it was going to be when you came here, or is this not exactly what I thought? It was going to be better or a little bit different?
It's different. It is. It's hard for anybody to know what to expect with this job. It is much busier, and I see students want to see me more and want to see me out, and I think it's important. There is a responsibility also to this community, and so I try to do as much community stuff as I can. It's just different. I wouldn't say it's negative or it's overly positive. Here is what I will say. I am really living in my purpose. I really feel like this job and this opportunity is divinely appointed for me at this time and at this juncture. So I really am living in the experience and enjoying it so much. My family is enjoying the experience so much. So I'm thankful for that.
Your best quality is your wife. I mean,
I know I've heard that. I've heard that many, many times. She is definitely the best of us. So,
and this is important. When you chose the job, your wife chose the job also.
She did. Yeah, it is. It is. And she has fallen into the job so well. She loves. I can't even begin to talk to you about how much she loves being around students. I think it probably energizes me, but I think it energizes her even more. And so you'll see her around campus, meeting with students, talking with students, going to student organizations. She's doing some mentoring of some young ladies on campus as well. So she really is enjoying it too. She will say, I love this. It brings me energy. And as the young folks say, it brings me life. So I think she is living her best life as well.
How long did it take you to kind of settle in? 6 months?
Yeah, probably 6 months is actually a really good clue. I started, Mr. Tinkle, believe it or not, almost 3 weeks after accepting the job. Because if you'll remember, I started right before fall semester of 2023. It was important for me to be in town prior to the faculty arriving, prior to students getting here. So I was given the job in the first week of July, right around the July 4th holiday. I started on August 9th. So there was a really quick turnaround.
Where were you sleeping during that time? I mean, you're in a hotel or what?
We were on vacation when President Randy Boyd called to offer me the job. I was waiting on the call, didn't know sort of what the response was going to be, but was waiting on the call and was so excited that he said, "Congratulations, you are now the new, chancellor at the University of Tennessee at Martin." So everything has been really quick. It happened really fast. And just getting adjusted to the schedule and trying to figure out who is who and where to go and where to stand and who do I need to meet. It took me about 6 months to really round that out and figure out what I was doing.
Chancellor, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask it this way. who led you around this university first, and who led you through the community?
Oh, gosh. There have been so many very kind people in the community. Destin Tucker and the folks in admissions were very kind. I've done some alumni visits. So Dr. Jackie Johnson, who is Associate Vice Chancellor for Alumni, have been really kind. Chancellor Emeritus Nick Donegan, Dr. Donegan, has introduced me to a ton of folks. And so he's kind of wrapped me up and taken me under his wing, and I'm thankful for him. And so he's been able to do that as well. And even now, even today, I have a new chief of staff, Jake Bynum. He is still making certain that I am in the places that I need to be in and meeting the people that I need to meet, and even providing some background information on folks that I need to know. Oh, this person is a UTM alum, or they helped with X program or Y program, or this is how they're connected. They love athletics. So getting that background information on people helps me to connect with them and even thank them for what they've done for the institution.
I usually ask questions that people don't ask, but
that's okay. I knew that walking in.
Did you play any sports when you were growing up?
I did not. I was not the jock. I was more of the smart kid. So I did stuff like Student Government Association and the government club, civic club, that sort of stuff. So I was more of the nerd when I was in school.
Okay, you can't walk away from what I'm going to ask you.
Okay, gosh, I'm afraid now.
Are you football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf? Which one are you?
I follow football, baseball, and basketball more than any of the other sports, but I enjoy all of it.
Have you been to a Cardinals game?
I have not been to a Cardinals game yet. You remember I lived in Chattanooga for a number of years, and so I've gone down to Braves games, but I haven't had a chance yet to get over to a Cardinals game. So that's on my bucket list.
Okay. Well, we're going to make that happen.
All right.
One way or another.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So you've spent enough time here in a year. What are you going to be doing for the next year?
Oh, goodness. There are tremendous plans for the campus in the next year. We have probably more important than anything right now on the top of my list is completing our strategic plan. So the strategic plan to get 10,000? That's part of the plan.
10,000 students?
Yes. And so each campus has a strategic plan that sort of guides what we'll do over the next 5 years. They typically last for a 5-year period of time. The current strategic plan that we're in ends in 2025. The plan is so important that it requires board approval. So the UT Board of Trustees will need to approve this plan once we get it in place. And so we have been working all summer and will continue to work throughout the fall building this plan for the campus. Part of that plan is going to talk about enrollment growth. And so we want to make sure that we get to the 10,000 students. But it's going to be critical. We will likely have something like 5 overall goals to complete in the next 5 years, 5 major sort of goals, and then 25 strategies connected to those goals.
Okay. Well, don't overwhelm me with the 25, but what's the 5? What are the 5 you want to do?
We are developing those 5 goals right now. So
really?
We are. So we're in the very beginning stages. We've had focus groups on campus. We have a steering committee. We have different people talking about what are our opportunities, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we've been doing some SWOT analyses around where we go from here and what's next for the campus in terms of how we get there. We focused a lot of attention on opportunities because that's where the growth and that's where you really get better is through those opportunities, with a considerable amount of awareness on threats, because we have to know what is potentially coming down the line and be able to deal with and address those things that are coming down the line, but a lot of space on opportunities. So I am going to sort of rub my genie hat here and just say that a lot of what you'll see in this new plan that we will develop in the fall is going to be around opportunities and closing gaps and how we do that well.
You know, when you came here, there were several changes that were they were already started. I'll give you a first that comes to my mind is that you have a new chief of police here.
Yes.
Michael O'Neill.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Michael's wonderful. He is student-centered and cares deeply about people and has done a fantastic job in this,
And the reason I bring this up is because today we don't know what we're going to have on our campus.
Yeah.
And I'll fast forward with
Sure.
this. But you and I both have been much aware of what's been going on in the other schools across America.
Right.
And protests that have taken place,
Yes.
flags have been burned and so forth. And it's my understanding that one of your priority goals, and I guess all of the chancellors have that, is the safety of the faculty, students, and anybody else that comes on.
That's right.
This campus.
That's optimal for me as the CEO for the campus here. It is around the safety and protection of every single student, every single person who is connected to that campus.
I think you already know this from your conversations, but one of the things that Chief O'Neill talked to me about when we did a program here not too long ago is that he spent a lot of his time early on, much like what you're doing,
Right.
is assessing.
Yes.
And to make
Yes.
sure in his world, making sure that the students and the faculty are taken care of,
Absolutely.
if you will,
Yeah,
with new cameras
absolutely.
and things that make it a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are. There is a full plan around cameras. There's a full plan around staffing and making sure that we have appropriate staffing. There's a full plan around things like training for our officers to ensure, it working as a university police officer, campus safety officer is different than what it would be if you were working in a metropolitan area or for a municipal police department. It's different. Students are different. The clientele is a little bit different than what you're dealing with. And so we talk a lot about, community protection, community safety for the campus. And the way that we deal with our students is one that says, gosh, you can make mistakes, and we understand that this should be a ground where you are able to kind of make mistakes. We don't want anything to completely destroy you if you make a mistake on our campus. But there is a community expectation for the individuals who are on the campus that says, gosh, we're going to ensure that folks can be safe, that this is a great learning environment, and that we don't allow anything outside of that to impact the ability to learn on the campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me simply move a little further down the road. If you just tuned in, Chancellor of the University of Tennessee at Martin, Dr. Yancy Freeman is our guest today. He has just celebrated his first anniversary here at the university. Have you made any changes that I could see on the campus just yet since you've been here a year?
I hope I have. We've been talking about enrollment. I mean, that's been the primary thing for us. We have to be, I'm going to say this, and folks could argue with me. I think we are the premier institution in West Tennessee. I
think you're right about that.
Campus. Yeah. I think we are a premier institution, and so we have to be a top producer of talent and, for the West Tennessee area. I've met with a lot of our business and industry leaders and partners in this area, and they have some workforce needs where they want folks who have completed degrees in different areas all across the board. Anything from accounting to engineering to health fields to you name it. I've had a chance to meet and talk with folks. We have to be a top producer of that talent. And in order to do that, in order to meet the workforce demand just for our side of the state, we have to increase our enrollment on the campus. And so we are focused on trying to increase enrollment for the campus. Let me
back up for just a second, because you brought a great point.
Yeah.
How many students and faculty will be on campus, actually physically here on campus day to day?
Yeah. So we are right in the midst right now of figuring out, we're still registering students for the upcoming fall. We have a census date, which is the 14th day of class, that we do the official count for our campus. Right now, we're running about 7% ahead on student enrollment versus where we were last year.
Okay, but
numbers. We had last year just short of 7,000 students. Now that includes all graduate, undergraduate, online, student, the regional centers that are out there. So it includes the total number of students who are there.
Okay, so how many here on campus?
About 4,000 students are here.
And that includes faculty?
Yeah. Oh, no. So now faculty, we have about 350 faculty or so, 800 total full-time employees.
You're talking about custodians. You're talking about people that mow
Yes.
the yard. You're
Yes.
talking about people
all of
that
the
are part-times.
employees.
I don't know that people actually realize that each day we have this number of people coming to work.
Oh, gosh,
and,
yeah.
And then this many people looking for a parking place.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that's something you'll have to, look at some
Yeah,
point. And maybe a
absolutely.
high rise, a double, triple decker or
I know.
something.
That's right.
I'm not making it up.
No, we are always dealing with, there is parking on campus. There's probably a shortage of convenient parking on campus, right? That's right next to your building. But there is parking. But yes, parking is always a consideration for how we do that, when we do it, and what we do for parking.
If you are coming to meet the chancellor on the University of Tennessee at Martin campus on University Street, you won't find you in where you were supposed to be.
Right.
You're around the corner somewhere,
I am.
but you want to take that and tell people where your office is. And then I want to
Yes.
come to your vice chancellor for a second.
Okay. So I am now located in the Johnson we call it EPS building. It's Engineering Physical Science, the previous Engineering Physical Sciences building. We have a new Latimer Smith engineering building that's there. So the occupants of the EPS building moved out. It's now overflow space. We are working on a upgrade to Hall Moody, to that location of where we were, where the chancellor's office and administrative areas are. It is getting a facelift, I will say, right now, with building systems and restrooms. So some updates are happening there as well. We were going to renovate part of the building, and we got the funding to do the second part of the building. So where we thought we were going to go back in January of 25 has now been extended to the summer of 25, but the whole building will be done when we finish. And
Okay,
so,
how long is that going to be?
we think probably summer 25. So next summer.
It's easy to come to that building.
It is.
And it's
It
hard
is.
to find you.
Yes, it is.
I don't mean
now.
that to be ugly.
Yeah,
It's
no. It is a little bit harder to find me right now than it probably has been. The new space is going to be well worth it. I'm looking forward to getting back into the renovated space, I should say.
I don't know how many vice chancellors you have, but who are your vice chancellors?
Yeah. So we have, there are several vice chancellors that are there that are responsible for divisions, and I'm probably going to forget one, so they're going to have to forgive me. But we have a provost and chief academic affairs officer. Of course, he's responsible for all of the different academic programs. We have a vice chancellor for finance and administration. We call him the chief business officer. So they're responsible for things like campus safety, facilities, the finances of the university overall. So Peter McPherson has responsibility for those areas. We have someone that you know very well, Bud Grimes, who is responsible for university relations. So he is there. There are folks like Mark McLeod, who is responsible for access and engagement. He is sort of the person who is there to help students who have been underserved, students with learning differences, physical differences, students who are in the military, first generation college students. His division works directly with those students to ensure that they can have some success. And so Dr. McLeod is there. Student affairs, there's also one who deals with student affairs. It's all of the student organizations, making sure that they go. It is taking care of health and wellness for our students, so campus rec, all of those are there. So there are several vice chancellors that have different divisions that they are responsible for and that they oversee.
You have a really good ROTC program here.
Yeah, gosh, we do. Lieutenant Colonel Bernard House, he is responsible for our Army ROTC program, and he does a phenomenal job. In fact, I just got a note from the U.S. Army talking about how our program has met all of these essential standards, core standards for a program, including things like number of students who are participating, number of students who are progressing through with grade point average, number of students who are completing basic training, and so a number of different things that are out there that UTM is excelling for our campus.
Let me, I don't want to leave academia, but I want to talk about athletics here for just a moment. They both happen to start with A.
Which is also another vice chancellor. We have a vice chancellor for athletics as well, Kurt McGuffin. So I told you I was going to forget somebody.
You didn't forget. So here's my follow-up. How much money does it take to run the athletics department?
Oh, goodness. Certainly more than it feels like we have on any given day.
I mean, you're going through, I'm not letting you off on that,
yeah,
but
okay.
You have seen a transition of our athletics program in a very short period of time. Right. And our football team, as we all know, gotten some very high accolades. Not necessarily on the football field, but we've got some athletes that are just over the top.
Yeah.
With GPA sitting at 4.0 and then maybe some.
Yeah, we had, this was a record for us in terms of the number of students who had a perfect grade point average, 4.0 grade point average on our campus. We had 29 student athletes with a 4.0 perfect score. We won a OVC commissioner's, commendation for achieving that. We have some students that are incredibly smart, that are handling both work on the field and off the field as it relates to athletics. So some very talented student athletes.
Not that I don't want to leave athletics here, but I'm going to come back to that in a second. Okay. But right next door to the football field, all of those housing units have gone away. It's a beautiful, beautiful yard out there. What's going to happen there? So
for the immediate future, we're planning to do some tailgating and student space out there. So we'll do some programming for tailgating. We have to wait until October because the sod needs to connect so that it stays pretty and green. But we're going to do tailgating on that space. Eventually, there's going to be a pavilion put on the space so that we can do some outdoor concerts. We hope to share the space with the city of Martin. So if there are events that will happen, I should probably tell the mayor that to make sure that he is aware. But our goal is to share that space also so that we are bringing the Martin Weakley County community into campus. And so it will be a spot where people, from where the city can reserve it and hold concerts or, outdoor sort of programs. So we hope it's going to be a really fun, active, engaging space for our students, for our community, and for Weakley County all in general.
You have been doing, if you just tuned us, everybody, Dr. Yancy Freeman. He's the Chancellor of the University of Tennessee at Martin. We're speaking with him on his second anniversary, well, actually his first anniversary here.
First one.
But the second time we've sat here and talked about things going on at the university. I don't want to get too deep in this. We talked about athletics. Yeah. What's the status of the athletics program overall? Are we in good shape financially, or are we needing money, or are we going to have to cut some things out?
We always need more money. I mean, athletics is changing so drastically, and it has changed and continues to change. There is a settlement agreement out there right now that is we're negotiating through. NCAA is writing some FAQs, some frequently asked questions for institutions and also for student athletes and their families or anybody maybe who will listen. They're doing a Q&A for so that we understand what this settlement agreement does overall. It is the days of the transfer portal and name, image, likeness, NIL, and payments to student athletes. We are fully there. It does not look like any of that is turning around. So we always need additional money to help with running athletics. The cost of doing business has gone up. I was meeting and talking with Kurt McGuffin, and, we do away games for football games, for basketball games. Getting our student athletes there and, travel has gone up. Folks have seen sort of the cost of gas. And so just something as simple as gas going up increases the cost for athletics. And so it is... it's an interesting time right now. We are not planning to cut anything. We're not planning to not have, a sport on our campus. We're trying to manage through the settlement agreement to make sure that we fully understand what's going to happen, and then we'll make moves from there. But we're in a good place. But we'll take any donations that folks want to give toward our athletics program.
If you're in front of a parent or parents who have an eligible son or daughter and they have a number of opportunities to go anywhere else.
Sure.
Why should they come to UT Martin?
Yeah, so I think the reason why they would come to UTM, are you asking about a student athlete or just a student in general?
Student in general.
Oh, student in general.
Yes,
I can answer that one all day. So the reason why they ought to come to UTM is we are absolutely the campus that will take care of them. One of the things I am most thankful for are the incredible faculty and staff who work on that campus. They get up every day thinking about how to help students to succeed. I see it every day in situations where we have students who deal with food insecurity or housing insecurity or whatever it might be. Our folks are leaning in and trying to do what they can to help them. And so they're going to have people who really do care about them and care about their success. One of the things we do very well is something that I call, and it's not my term, but I call experiential learning. There is not a place that you can go, not another institution that I can think of that does this better than UTM, where we give students a chance to go out into the field and do whatever it is they tell us they want to do. We have students in sports management who go and visit and participate as interns at the Super Bowl. We have students in meteorology who just this past summer went to the Great Plains and chased an EF4 tornado. We have students who are in finance who are managing a TBA investment fund. It's just, it goes on and on and on. Students in political science who had a chance to interview folks in the Stanton area based on a Blue Oval City Ford SK agreement that wanted to figure out how you invest in that community. We had our students out interviewing the community members. So you can't get an opportunity to really be involved and do what you think you want to do in your community. They can get anywhere they want to go with a UTM education. And so I stand on that and firmly believe that we are preparing students for whatever they want to do in life.
Do you think, and this is a very broad question, but do you think that you were prepared for what you were inherited?
I do. I've always been the kind of person who loves to learn new things and loves new opportunities. And so while some of the stuff that I've experienced has been really new, I think the experience that I've had over the 30 years of my career in higher education has prepared me well, to walk into this experience. And I am collaborative. I try to be as collaborative as possible. I try to be a great listener. And so where I don't have experience, I have great talented people around me, and I try to listen and try to have some discernment about what they're telling me and trying to make the right decision for the campus. So I think I'm prepared. I guess time will tell where I end up at the end of this time with UTM. Time will tell whether or not I was prepared or not.
You've heard people ask this question 100 times. What keeps you up at night?
Oh, gosh, it is. I go to bed and wake up every morning thinking about how I can make a difference in the lives of the people who are connected to the campus and how I take the campus to the next level. It is my heart's desire to see it excel and exceed and do all of the things that I know that a degree can do for a student. So that's what I want to do.
Where do you go to church?
So my wife and I have been visiting churches. We went to the Martin Church of Christ here just this past weekend and had an opportunity to enjoy with them. We've gone to different churches all over, all over Martin and all over the area. We've probably gone to Oak Grove Baptist Church more than probably any other place. And so that's where we may end up, with our membership, but we have been visiting and just, trying to get to know and see and figure out where.
You pray every day?
Every single day. Single day. It is. My faith is what sustains me.
The reason I brought that up because you've talked about your faith in the past.
Absolutely.
And people want someone who has tremendous respect for the Lord.
Yes.
And don't mind talking about the Lord.
No, not at all. It is what sustains me. It is absolutely what makes me, I think, the person that I am. It allows me to have compassion and empathy and to want to see the least of us be able to succeed and excel. And so it is what drives me. I don't use it as a way to talk about what someone else is not doing. I use it as a way to say, this is what you can expect from me, someone who is going to be a person of integrity in dealing with.
Glad we had this experience to visit today, and I thank you so much, Chancellor Freeman, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Tinkle. It's great to be here. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you.
Hope you've enjoyed our program. From the University of Tennessee at Martin, Dr. Yancy Freeman with us today here on 30 Minutes. Paul Tinkle, pre-recorded.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.